I think what's happening today, James, is that the Prime Minister's trying to announce something that he's not really quite ready to announce because of his legacy, because of the political issues around his future. Now, he knows that this policy, a ban on social media for under-16s, is on the surface popular. It's popular amongst parents, it's popular amongst teachers, and even children, some children do want to see restrictions on social media, but they haven't ironed out exactly the details. Even Keir Starmer today at that press conference did openly admit some kids will be able to get around this, and he is not saying that all children will be able to be kept off social media, but he equated it to like alcohol. He said, look, just because some kids, some teenagers have beer and manage to get their hands on a drink, does that mean that we should say, well, actually, what's the point in legislating against this at all? Which is, I think, an argument that most people do agree with. That he said, and he said to me in answer to my question, he said, this is about cultural change. I want people in society to be able to say that social media should not be for children.
So if you run a shop and you don't check for the age of the person you're selling to, and you're not really confident, and in fact you maybe be extra safe by checking they look 18, 19, but actually I need to check that they're if they look anything below 21, I need to check their date of birth and ID, or I'm not going to sell to them.
And you don't do it.
They're on the hook for that. The person that owns that shop is on the hook for that. So, you know, we've not criminalised loads of kids for having a fag at the back of a bike shed. We've not criminalised loads of kids for drinking on the streets. We do go after people who run those shops.
It's easier to hurt the owner of an off licence on Inkerman Street, UK, than it is to hurt the owners of YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok.
They're bigger companies, so we're talking about big fines, you know, up to 10% of the profits that they make being in scope for fines. So there are ways of doing this. You're right that the conversation should now turn to enforcement, how we get this done in a way that's really robust. And, you know, if I'm being really candid, the measures that we're announcing today will take us a really long way down the track. But a bit like with the seatbelt debate or cigarettes and public health issues.
So the
like
legislative process will define it. Is that the idea?
Yeah, but we're going to have to keep up with it. We're going to have to keep passing legislation to ensure that we keep up with the technology, and make no apology for that.